So in our last video, we did a little bit of syncing up of our audio with our graphics. I've cleaned that up just a little bit, and let's just play a quick little preview of what we have so far.
I know who I am. I'm a dude play. I know who I am. I'm a dude play.
And so it's happening. It's happening fairly quickly. This "I'm a dude," but there's one thing I'd like to work on in this video here, and that is this arm coming out here. If I just scrub my timeline, you can see that the way this is currently situated, the arm comes in almost right away. As soon as "I'm" is said, then comes in, and then dude appears in the arm there. But what I'd like to have happen is I want the arm to come out from the bottom of the block serif of the type of the eye here, and that's going to require a mask. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just reduce that just a little bit, and I'm going to select the arm 1 layer, and it's basically at this point right here, that just before dude comes on, that I want the arm to be fully extended right there. And so I'm going to open up the position property for the arm 1, and it's already open there, and I'm going to click the stopwatch just to create a keyframe at that position. That basically tells me that that's where I want that arm to be at that point. But I'm going to go a little bit back in my timeline, and it's right about as soon as it appears that I want that to come back, essentially. So I'm going to just use my arrow key and hold down the shift button so I can constrain it to its X axis, and I'm going to position that right there. Now I've repositioned my arm 1 layer to be behind the "I'm" section, just so that it comes from behind. And so let's look at what happens with this animation currently. And that's essentially what I want to have happen. But there's, of course, is the problem. We can see the arm right behind here. We don't want that. We want to mask it. And so there's something we have to do here. We have to add a mask. There's a couple different ways we can do that. We can either control click on this layer and get the contextual message window and choose mask from here. Or we can just drop down from the layers menu and choose mask here. Either way, I'm going to select new mask. And you can see now in our layer stack that for this arm layer, there is now a new twirly, a new transform of a mask, a new property of mask. Now, what I need to do is click on the disclosure triangle for that mask 1 option, and you can see that there is in fact a new property called mask path. There's a whole bunch of other properties, but it's this mask path that we are going to edit. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to and actually, one thing I'd like to do before we do anything with that, I want you to recognize that if I scrub the timeline, that mask is traveling with that graphic, which is not serving us any good, because we need this mask to change its shape properties or its path properties as we animate it. So this is what we're going to do at this point here, right as the arm reaches its position, its final position. I'm going to click the stopwatch for the mask path to create a path or a keyframe for that mask. Now it's getting kind of hard to see, so let's zoom in a little bit so we can see this a bit better. There we go. Now let's go back to the original position for this mask. And what I need to do is I'm going to hold down the space bar to just drag this over a little bit. I need to reposition this or reshape this mask. Currently, the mask path, all the anchor points for this mask path are selected. So I'm going to have to click off for a second. And when I click off, that allows me to then select that anchor point and then shift select that anchor point, and I'm going to drag them over, and I'm going to hold down the shift button to constrain the proportion, the axis. And now when I scrub through my timeline, you can see that mask is now changing its shape and allowing the arm to appear as if it's coming out of the side of the letter I. And that is all we need to do to create that mask. And then the word dude comes in on top of that. And let's resize this and let's see what that does for us. So we're going to RAM preview this.
I know who I am. I'm a dude play. I know who I am. I'm a dude.
So that it's a subtle effect, but that's essentially what we want. Now, the next step for us is to, as his thought bubble comes in, we want to zoom in to this cowboy image up here. Now, remember, to do that, we are going to have to change the layer properties for everything because we want all of these graphics to essentially increase in scale. And whenever we want a number of graphics to increase in scale or do the same thing, we essentially need to group them together. And just to remind you that when we group, that's what After Effects calls precomposing. So what we're going to do is we're going to precompose all of these graphics again. So I'm going to click on the cowboy layer, and I'm going to shift select on chair dude. There we go. So we have all those graphics. And now I'm going to go to the layer drop down menu, again select precompose, and this time I'm going to call this one I'm a dude, and yeah, we'll go ... and say OK. And again, that's opened that up in a new timeline called I'm a dude, but we're not going to make any changes here. We can just go right back to the dude main. In fact, let's close some of these compositions. We're getting kind of messy again, so I'm going to just clean this up. And again, we're back into dude main. This time, I'm a dude has now been grouped or precomposed into this new composition, I'm a dude ... Now I can change its scale, and so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, let's make sure that we've got the continuously rasterize button pushed, so that when we increase the scale, that all of these graphics remain nice and crisp. I'm going to reveal its scale property by pressing S, and I'm going to increase that. Actually, hang on a second. I need to before I do that, I need to change my work area. I'm going to expand that a little bit. I'm going to bring this over a little bit. I also, this layer indicator is showing me the I'm a dude composition. Right now, I'm going to just clean this up and trim that to the point where it actually first starts to appear. So that, there we go. That's it's not absolutely necessary to do that, but it just sort of shows me where the compositions are beginning and ending on my timeline. So there we have I'm a dude, and I would like to have the scale at this point, right as soon as the there we go. As soon as the thought bubble comes up, I want that scale to be set right there because it's immediately going to start changing at this point. And in fact, I'm just going to go a couple of frames out, and I'm going to increase the actually, I need to do another thing too. I need to show the property, the position property as well. So I'm going to go Shift P and put a keyframe there. So everything stays where it is and is at the right scale at that point. And it's at a couple of frames out that we're going to zoom in. We're going to change the scale, so essentially making it look as if there's a zoom. And we're going to, yeah, that's essentially it. So this is all that's going to happen. In fact, I'm going to change the property, make sure that I'm over top of my position property, and I'm going to bring this down here. There we go. So that is what we are going to do. And just to make sure that we are right where we need to be on our audio clip, I'm going to do a little preview of my audio by holding down the command button and scrubbing with my timeline. So you can hear right there, just as we zoom into this cowboy, you can hear the word playing coming in. So this is where our third section is going to come in, playing a dude. So that's where we're going to bring in our Dude 03 composition. But one thing I want to make sure that we are doing properly is I'm going to, in fact, go back to my project panel, and I want to find the I'm a Dude composition, and double click that, and I see here that I have forgotten to press this continually rasterize button, because in the Dude main composition, this was starting to look a little bit fuzzy. So here we go. Now that's working better. If I go to fit up to 100%, here, I'm going to set that to 100%. Now you can see that graphic is looking nice and clean. So this is how this is going to transition from the second section. And let's I'm going to go back to fit up to 100%, make sure that that is all working the way we want it to. There we go. Okay. Now in the next video, we're going to start doing the type coming in for this third line, this third section here.